Online today. Please note that today's meeting is being live streamed and can be viewed by the general public via Council's Facebook page and later uploaded to Council's website. By participating in and addressing those present at the meeting, you consent to any information you disclose, including any personal information or sensitive information, being recorded and uploaded to the website. I'll begin by inviting Councillor Taylor to please read the preface.
Almighty God, we humbly beseech your blessing on the Council. Direct and prosper its deliberations for the welfare of the people of the Moyne Shire. Amen.
Thank you. And I now invite Councillor Murray to read our acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor. We acknowledge the Kire Wurrung people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today or watching.
Thank you very much, Councillor Murray. I think the only apology we have today, Mr. Eberstein, is from Ms. Edith Farrell, our Director of Assets and Community.
Yes, through you, Mayor, that's correct. And we have Robinson in Ms. Farrell's place.
Thank you very much. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest for today's meeting? There being none, we'll move to the minutes, and I'll call for a mover to confirm the minutes. There are three lots here. The special council meeting on the 20th of May, 2025, and the minutes of the ordinary and the confidential council meetings held on the 27th May. Yes. Councillor Murray, and seconded. Please, thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there any discussion around those minutes? No, if not, we'll just put those to the vote. All those in favour? It's carried 7-0. Because we have no public participants at today's meeting, we'll move directly on to our officer reports. And we'll begin with item 2.1, the Moyne Shire Council Plan 2025 to 2029 and Community Vision. And I'd like to invite our Director of Corporate Governance, Mr. Ed Small, to introduce this item for us, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this is a culmination of a lot of work from the community and from the council. And just want to run through the process we've used. We've decided to review the community vision and develop this new council plan for the period 25-29. And we've had a number of community workshops and stakeholder workshops and staff workshops and listening posts. So we started off with the initial submission period for the community vision being from January 13th to February the 3rd, and we've got 110 submissions, indicates the level of interest from the community. We then held 4 workshops between the period of 31 January and 1st of February in Port Fairy, Koroit and Mortlake, and we had 90 people actually attend those workshops. Then we held listening posts throughout the Shire with council and officers available for 41 hours in person, when we got 184 connections at that point. And finally went through the public exhibition process for the period of 24 April to 11th of May, with 265 community responses. So we've taken all of that feedback, and the councillors have worked up this new new council plan, which is much shorter than the previous one. And of course, we will have to have an associated action plan, but we'll talk about that later. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Do we have questions in relation to this plan? Councillor Dukas, did you have a question?
No, not particularly. What I would like an answer to on page, doesn't have a page number. It must be page 38. Under setting up for growth, it talks about identifying and support major projects to transform our region. When it talks about major projects, are you talking about wind farms, solar farms, etc., battery storage, or major projects as building a new club rooms at a footy ground or something like that?
Mr. Small, I would imagine it's all of open to anything. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, my intention is to grow the community activity and obviously economic activity.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? No, we do have a recommendation before us that we adopt the council plan, including the community vision. Seeking a mover, please. Councillor Murray, seconded. Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you. I'm really excited to deliver the council plan today. It's a strong, clear statement of where we're heading as a community and outlines how we'll get there. One of the things I particularly acknowledge is how streamlined and accessible this plan is. It's been deliberately reduced. The previous plan was 44 pages. We've got this one down to 8. It's a major shift and it makes it more actionable, easier to understand, and ultimately more transparent for our residents. It sharpens our focus on outcomes and strengthens our governance and accountability. But importantly, this plan doesn't just state our aspirations, it includes measurable indicators under each strategic objective. It reflects our deep commitment to transparency and accountability, and we'll be able to demonstrate our progress and course correct wherever needed. To support this council plan, there is a 12-month action plan that sits alongside this. It steps out in detail exactly how we will deliver on our objectives. Every year, a new action plan will be developed to ensure we remain responsive and on track. And I'm really looking forward to delivering this, our council plan and the community's council plan together. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Murray. Councillor Ryan.
Thanks through you, Mayor. I second what Councillor Murray has said, and I'd just like to recognise the commitment to our Shire that this plan provides and guides our future direction. Excuse me. And I'd also like to recognise our community's contribution to this plan as well. It doesn't exist without those that have participated in the consultation throughout every stage of the plan. So big thank you to everyone who has contributed.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Opening up for other councillors. Would anyone else?
Another clarification, please.
Councillor Lucas.
In the recommendation, it doesn't mention the health and wellbeing plan. Why not?
Mr. Small, are you able to address that?
Thank you. Yeah, through the mayor, I would like to respond that basically incorporating the document itself is the health and wellbeing plan, and I believe we do cover that in the page, which would be page 39 of our agenda. It refers to the relationship to how the municipal public health and wellbeing plan is incorporated into the council plan.
Thank you, Mr. Small.
Why wouldn't I know there's a reference here somewhere to a website. Oh, there it is there. But shouldn't that be part of the recommendation? As being it's a plan that we need the health and wellbeing plan to be part of the council plan, not just a website as an attachment. I just thought it should have been in there, that's all.
Well, we do have we have a mover and a seconder for this.
No, that's okay. I'm just making comment, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
I can live with both.
Thanks, Councillor Dukas. This is an opportunity now for other councillors to speak for or against. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'll speak for them. I agree with both Councillor Moyne and Councillor Reiner. As councillors, we've spent a lot of time on this. The staff have spent a lot of time on it. Our consultants who are, excellent, worked very closely with us, and the community, over 110 submissions. I think we've really fleshed it out. And as Councillor Murray said, previously we've had 44-page documents. We've had, quite expensive ones that they get a bit lost, I think. And I think this is a real good outline why. So I think this is really good, really good practical document that we'll be, working with closely. So that's what it's hoping. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Lockett. Any other councillors? Councillor Taylor.
I would like to speak against the motion. So I am going to foreshadow a motion to remove all reference to traditional owners in strategic plan and its attendant actions. At the Treaty Information Forum recently held in Warrnambool, councils and councillors were urged to use our influence to engage further in treaty and to explain treaty and dispel myths. The current treaty strategy includes ongoing truth-telling, the investigation of historical and ongoing injustices to be carried out at the local level. The intention is that, as well as the statewide treaty, which will be overarching, there will be local treaties that will talk to country. Councils are expected to be integrated into these local agreements. Treaty was presented as being inevitable, with no consideration given to the outcome of the 2023 voice referendum, resounding no from the Australian people. We are to enter a treaty era that will not stop with first treaty, but will build changes over time. I believe that the treaty process in Victoria is tilting our state towards authoritarianism. Therefore, I cannot in good conscience support a strategic plan that includes as a key aspiration the goal to strengthen relationships with traditional owners and First Nations communities, along with its attendant actions. These commitments, if taken seriously, morally bind our council to support the outcomes of the Yurok Justice Commission, the treaty process and ongoing truth-telling. If they do not, they are simply acts of virtue signalling. Critically, the forum offered no clear detail about what treaty implementation will mean for councils in practical terms, particularly regarding regulatory burden, rates and taxes, and management, or the limits of council autonomy. There was no clarity about how increased powers or resource claims will be mediated or whether Victorian citizens will have a democratic say in the unfolding process. We were told that this is about power and resources for Aboriginal people, that they will be going after other portfolios, but land and waters will be the beginning, because they want Aboriginal people to be sharing in the prosperity, and that happens on country. When considered as a full statement of intent, it must mean going after private property, because Crown land is not commercially profitable. This is a plain statement of the redistribution of power, and the intent is openly acknowledged but presented as morally necessary and therefore beyond criticism. Unity and mutual healing is not part of these phrases. These treaties are about power shifting. A treaty normally implies a settlement, but the presenters used language suggesting something more like a process of permanent transformation, with no point at which the demands
Point
of
of order,
these
Mayor.
are fulfilled.
Thank you. I'll just interrupt you, Councillor Taylor. If you wouldn't mind taking a seat, we've got a point of order.
Through you, Mayor, I can understand Councillor Taylor's opinions on this matter, but I'm struggling to understand the length of the spiel and how it's related to the council plan report item. That's what we're here to decide on today, and I understand the first points raised in regards to that. But the further spiel diminishing First Nations people within our Shire, let alone the entire country, is quite a negative approach to take. Thank you, Mayor.
We'll uphold that point of order. And Councillor Taylor,
I have 5 minutes.
I'll just ask you to confine your commentary to the item 2.1, which is the council.
But it is related to 2.1 because, as I stated, I believe that by adopting that particular guiding principle, it is necessarily binding us to the treaty.
Okay, and that's probably.
And I believe I have 5 minutes. I believe I have a 5-minute limit, which I have not.
No, you haven't. No, I've just been checking time. You have got some extra time, but.
So may I complete my statement?
If it's relating to this item.
Well, I believe it is.
Okay, well, if you continue on.
Thank you.
I'm stating.
In support of Councillor Taylor, I don't know how many councillors have read the Health and Wellbeing Act or plan, but it's what she said is very relevant in this Health and Wellbeing plan. It talks about treating numerous times.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dukas. That we have Councillor Taylor has got the floor here, so you have got 2 minutes left.
I would like to complete my statement, please.
Through you, Mayor, asking a question regarding Councillor Taylor's comments about private land. I've never heard that come up in the debate, so I just worry about the inaccuracy of the statement, but if he wishes to have that on.
Continue. We've got 2 more minutes. Thank you, Councillor Taylor.
A treaty normally implies a settlement, but the presenters used language suggesting something more like a process of permanent transformation. This echoes the logic of perpetual revolution or perpetual grievance. The purpose is not settlement, but an open-ended reshaping of structures. While the goals of the Yurok Justice Commission and treaty processes are framed around healing and recognition, their restorative justice underpins introduce serious risks to the core principles of classical liberal governance These include the erosion of impartial law, institutional neutrality, and equal citizenship, all of which are foundational to a just, productive, and cohesive society. I recognise that Australia's colonisation involved dispossession, marginalisation, and exclusion of Aboriginal peoples. However, I believe that in responding to this injustice, we must not undermine the very system that holds the promise of equal justice and freedom for all, the classical liberalism of which I spoke. I support empowering Aboriginal Australians through equal opportunity, education, and personal responsibility, ensuring every individual has the freedom to shape their own future. The case for treaty has not been adequately presented to Victorians, and public consensus on the profound changes it is likely to bring have not been sought. Without their informed consent, it would be a failure in our duty.
It's 5 minutes now, thank you.
Well, I've got about 10 more words to speak.
I'll
To the
allow,
wider Moyne community and a breach of trust to align council policy with the treaty process.
thank you, councillor Taylor. Any other councillors who wish to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Ross?
Yeah, I'm probably neutral on the plan. Started off very well, and we've got our points there, but then we get to our actions page. Just reading through that, it's like not doing much with the actions to advance the Shire. So I think we fell down on the actions side of it.
Okay, thank you, councillor Ross. Any other councillors want to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Dugas?
Yeah, speak against it. Thank you, Mayor. In the health and wellbeing plan, well, firstly, I support Councillor Taylor, but under acknowledgement of Aboriginal people living in Victoria, it talks about both pre and post invasion. So I find that very, very disturbing that government report that's all about invasion. I don't know of any invasion that took place. I read the health and wellbeing plan. It talks a bit about the COVID pandemic, climate-related events and bushfires. But it also talks about negotiating with traditional owners about treaties, the Assembly, the First Peoples Assembly. Further onward, it talks about is a heading here, improving sexual and reproductive health. Well, we all know that the COVID vaccine had a really detrimental effect on reproductive health when it comes, especially in relation to women. I don't know about men, but it did have a very disturbing effect on that. Yet there's nothing in here that talks about that and what should or shouldn't be done. So further to the point, this health and wellbeing plan, I think, needs to be rewritten, especially after the pandemic. And for me to accept the council plan with the Victorian Public Health and Wellbeing Plan being part of it, I just can't do it.
Thank you,
There's
councillor Dugas.
too much in it that negates the freedoms of the people.
Thank you, councillor Dugas. Any other councillors wanting to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll return to you as the mover, councillor Murray.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. And I apologise, I am quite emotional. But I'm going to get through this. Firstly, months we have been doing this process. This is the first time that any of this has been brought up. That is grandstanding, in my opinion. And it's very upsetting that as a council of community elected people in 2025, that misinformation is still being spoken about, and that our First Nations communities still have to sit and listen to this misinformation being shared. So I apologise for being so emotional, but can we not be empathetic? Can we not inform ourselves correctly on these matters? I am absolutely in support of this, and apologies, but I'm very disappointed with the words and actions of some of my fellow councillors today.
Thank you, councillor Murray. We will now put this item 2.1 to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hands. Those in favour, councillor Murray, councillor Ryan, councillor Lockett, councillor Foster. Those against, councillor Taylor, councillor Dugas. Are you voting, councillor Ross? You're abstaining from voting? Okay. All right, so that is carried 4-2. Thank you very much, councillors. We'll move now to item 2.2, budget submissions. And I'll call on our Director of Corporate and Governance, Mr. Small, please introduce this.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Councillors, I've got 3 reports to do with the budget today. The first one is a discussion of the budget submissions which the councillors have received, but they need to consider. The second one will do with the actual adoption of the budget itself. And the third one is a procedural one where we've separated out the declaration of the rates and charges for the year. So these are the rates and charges associated with the adopted budget, but there's a series of quite technical resolutions which we kept separately in item 2.4. So I'll talk to them individually. Item 2.2 is in relation to the budget submissions received. We've called for submissions to the community to make comments on our draft budget, and we advertised that in May, and we received 12 submissions. This report covers the officer's recommendations into relation to those 12 submissions. Of the 12, 4 have already been included in the draft budget, so no further comment was required by the officers. There is one recommendation to include a further item, which is item number 2 in the recommendations below, which says allocate 55,000 to Croydon District Progress Association. And then there is one, which is a question which as questions being posed and we want answers to, which we'll respond to. So it's not really a budget consideration, budget submission consideration. And then there's one of the items we referred to council operations to attend to. And 5 we have not made any recommendation of at all. So just to run through them briefly, there's the Hawkesdale Swimming Pool Chemical Shed request. We have indicated that there's already 32,000 included in the draft budget. Then the second one was the Wandoo Recreation Reserve kitchen facilities, and we indicated again that there's $100,000 already included in the budget, so no further action required there. Then the Koroit pump track, we've indicated there's $35,000 in the current budget for draft budget for design and costings. And then there was a request for exercise and fitness machines in MacArthur Market Square precinct, and the officers did not make a recommendation in relation to that application. Then there was a request for funding for the pontoon down at for the very historic lifeboat, and we did not make a recommendation about that. And then in relation to a request for consultancy costs to explore the use of clinical trial officers in Hawkesdale, we made no recommendation around that. And similarly received a late request from Abilene in relation to the 10-year master plan, which officers are not recommending anything in relation to that at this point. There were some specific questions on the wind farm, that's question number 8, which we'll respond to. Then there was a request for town streetscape works at Mortlake, which we haven't made recommendation to. Then there is the plan for a community and council solar and battery energy sharing scheme using a virtual energy network from Koroit and District Progress Association for 45,000, and council officers are recommending that. And there's 2 more. There's the Warrnambool Moyne District Cricket Association sponsorship for $9,000, which is already in the budget. And there's a request for extension of the current bicycle lane in Gibbs Street. And we have suggested council officers will investigate line marking bike stencils as part of our operational activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Small. Are there any questions for Mr. Small from the budget submissions?
I'll just through you, Mayor.
Yeah, Councillor Ross.
Just read the $45,000. Council have considered submissions. Where did I read that? Allocate 45,000 to Croydon District Progress Association guidance plan for a community and council solar and battery energy sharing scheme. I wasn't sure that we had any discussion on a council-run battery and solar.
So Councillor Rush, you might recall during the presentation we received from this group that their proposal is to install some solar equipment and batteries at Victoria Park in Koroit. So the partnership would be around using council assets for the project.
Okay. It doesn't read that.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully that
Just
clarifies it for
taking
you.
note of that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? No, if not, we are looking for a mover. Please put off its recommendation. Councillor Ryan, thank you. Seconded, please, by Councillor Murray. Thank you. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I just wanted to say that it's wonderful to see so many community submissions from passionate community members across our Shire. Particularly, it's great to see healthy lifestyle initiatives, environmental sustainability initiatives, economic development, and progressive evidence-informed projects. It's wonderful to see that we can support these projects through our budget process, and I really encourage our community and residents to continue to engage throughout our budget. I'm not a numbers person, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to money. So it's really important that we hear what our community wants and needs, and that's the only way we can make informed choices. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray, you second.
Through you, Mayor. Second on a lot of what Councillor Ryan said, there are things that a lot of the submissions were either included or we have included. There are things that missed out. I wish we could give everyone everything, but we are financially limited. Just to those that maybe didn't get their submissions up, still want to help you. Please still reach out to council. I know that we'll endeavour to do that as well. And part of the council plan that we just adopted is about getting these ideas from community and supporting them. The community is what knows what's best for them. And so I just really encourage our community to continue to make your submissions, continue to work with council. And if you missed out this time, please submit again in the next budget.
Thanks, Councillor Murray. Opportunity now for other councillors to speak for or against item 2.2. If not, I'll return to you as the mover. Councillor Ryan.
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Let's put that to the vote. All those in favour, please. That is carried 6-0. You councillors. Item 2.3. We're still sticking with budget issues, this time the actual budget 2025-26. Mr. Small, would you like to introduce this, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, there's up to the recommendation there to adopt the budget, and does also say and incorporate any changes as per items 2.2, the budget submissions. So that would mean that if we were to adopt this budget, we would be looking at putting in the $45,000 we just approved. So this budget is premised on a 3% rate increase, which is, as you know, the rates are capped by the state government, and that's the maximum amount of the cap that's set at the moment. So we've recognised that and are proposing to increase the rates by 3% for this financial year. The page 139 sets out the profit and loss for the year of this the comprehensive income statement, page 139, and it sets out the key issues in the income and revenue elements, income and expenditure elements of this budget. And there's a highlighted light red column which indicates the 25-26 budget, and it shows in there the rates and charges of 28 million and the operating grants of 16 million. And in the line below that is the capital grants of 8.3 million. And the reason why I wanted to bring that to the council's attention is that that's fallen significant from last year of 16 mil, and that pattern goes through to the future years. So we are being challenged by the available amounts of grants that we can use. I'll talk about the implications of that shortly. So the remainder of that page shows that we've basically got a $66 million budgeted income, and a 66 budgeted dollar expenditure and a $792,000 budgeted surplus. So that's a good but tight operating result. But the point of talking about why the impact of the capital grants falling off is that we are in dire need in this council to repair the Gibb Street Bridge. And what this council is very keen to do is to get some grant funding to restore our grant funding level as well, but to get some grant funding to contribute to the cost of that bridge, which we think is somewhere up to $10 million to repair. I say we think because when you start renovating an old house or anything else that's old, the costs seem to be very difficult to nail down at the outset. So our initial figures are saying 7 million, but we've got a contingency of up to 10 million. So in order to ensure that we do make progress on delivering against this bridge reconstruction, we have put in the draft budget a proposed borrowing of $10 million over a 2-year period if we need it. And it'll be up to $10 million if we need it. So the preference is not to borrow the 10 million, but to find some other funding for this bridge, because this is a vital community and transport asset. And to enable this to happen, we've proposed to, if it were to go ahead, to borrow $100,000 in this coming financial year and 9.9 or up to 9.9 in the following financial year. But hopefully it won't come to that. I think I'll probably leave my presentation at that point, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Small. Questions from councillors? Councillor Dukas?
Somebody has asked a question. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Small, you alluded to the fact that grant funding, I think it's capital grant funding, looks like dropping by about half. So that funding would be used for asset renewal or asset maintenance, etc.
Chair, yes, Councillor, that's what it's going to be used for asset renewal. This council's budget is focused on asset renewal, not on new assets. So we're very keen to keep the asset renewal figures up and to improve the community satisfaction, particularly with our roads.
Right, but with that drop in funding, it's going to be tough.
It's going to make it more difficult, Councillor.
Righto, thank you. Just so the people out there know that it's not us that are dropping it, it's the government cutting their funding.
Exactly, difficult year ahead. Yep. Thank you, Councillor Dukas. Any further questions? If not, we have an officer recommendation here for item 2.3 and seeking a mover. The motion. Thank you, Councillor Ross. Seconded, Councillor Lockett. Councillor Ross.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Small. I'm happy to support the budget, but going forward, we're going to have to really dig right into it over the next few years for our council term and come to grips with exactly where we're going, how much money we've got to spend.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Lockett.
Given the current tone, I'll reserve my right. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, I'll open it up to other councillors who would like to speak for or against the motion. Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of our officers that work really hard on the budget. We were having discussions in workshop just last week that our officers then have to try and fit in. It's not easy work. It's a lot of numbers. They have to explain all of their things to me, which I know is not an easy thing to try and get me to understand. So I'm really grateful to our officers for presenting these in a way that I can somewhat understand, but also to be delivering what we are. We are a small shire in terms of ratepayer base, but a very large shire in terms of area and roads that we maintain. So I'm just very grateful to our officers for all of the work that they do and for managing that bottom line. And I agree with Councillor Ross, there are tough economical times coming for everyone. Council is not immune to that, and we will need to be very cautious and considerate with how we manage these budgets going forward. And I think we've done a great job this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Any other councillors who'd like to speak?
Madam Mayor, I'm in support of the budget, a little bit reluctantly, but going forward, I'd just like to put the councillors and officers on notice that we need to review non-core business of the council.
Thank you, councillor
It
Dukas.
needs to be done because there's no guarantee that grants will be reinstated and what other, I suppose, aspects that the state and federal government might put on us in the way of spending. So, you know, we need to do a complete review of everything that's non-core for the Shire. So next year's budget will be a nice, tight, lean budget where those ratepayers who pay the rates get something back besides double speak from us.
Thank you, councillor Dukas. If there is no one else wants to speak, I'll come back to you, councillor Lockett. You've reserved your right.
Thank you, Mayor. As stated last month when we put the budget out for comment, I believe it's the Simon and Garfunkel budget. We have a bridge that we're seeking funding for. Discussed earlier today. We're planning, obviously, ideally we'll get funding for that bridge. If we don't, we're also planning to go ahead because she doesn't have long left for dear old bridge. So I think it's a financially responsible budget in difficult times, yet we're still getting almost some interest in good capital works, servicing our assets. We've got a very vast, wide range of roads across our Shire, which we all know about. Good to see some of our advocacy work on state roads has actually been happening. Princess Highway slowly getting fixed up. So, I think it's a responsible budget, but with some exciting capital works in it as well. Notice we've got a bit of an increase in our work cover premium, but that's across the board, across the sector in local government and in private sector as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, councillor Lockett. Councillor Moss, returning to you as the mover of the motion.
Yes, I just encourage the ratepayers to just have a look at the budget and the figures. You might not be able to work out exactly what's going on, but you just might happen to get a bit of an idea of where we're tracking.
Thank you, councillor Ross. Let's put item 2.3 to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. That is carried 7-0. Speaking of which, just a brief clarification. I think in the earlier item 2.2, I think I actually said it was 6-0. My error. There are 7 of us and it was unanimous. So item 2.2, just to clarify that. Move to item 2.4, the declaration of rates and charges for 2025-26. Mr. Small again, please.
Thank you very much. Mayor, councillors, as I alluded to earlier, this is a sort of the procedural declaration of rates and charges to support the budget that we've just adopted. And the reason why we've operationally separated out is because if you look at these resolutions, they're quite complex and quite technical. So we've produced here the resolutions to enable the rates and charges we've included in the previous budget or previous item on the agenda to be raised, and that includes the general rates, municipal charge, annual service charge, and payments in lieu of rate, which totals 28.9 million, and that's the numbers referred to on page 139 and 147 of the previous set of agenda item. So that resolution enables the rates to be raised. We've talked about this the second resolution that it's based on the capital improved value, and it's based on a uniform rate across all of the properties. And then recommendation number 3 talks about the municipal charge, which will be $303. This has been increased from $294 from the previous financial year. And item number 4 then goes into the annual service charges, which are related to rates, to rubbish, curbside collection, and the waste facilities charge, and those are set out in some detail. Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Are there questions from councillors? It is complex, as Mr. Small has said. Had the benefit of being able to go through this in workshop. Any questions today? If not, there is an officer recommendation there in 4 parts, I think it is. Seeking a mover. 5 parts, thank you. Seeking a mover for item 2.4. Councillor Murray, thank you. And a seconder. Councillor Lockett, thank you. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Again, I just want to highlight the amazing work of our officers. For our community's benefit, the rates within the Moyne Shire are average at about 25% lower than any of our neighbouring shires. I know people don't like rates. I know we wouldn't want to pay them. No one wants to pay rates. But the fact that we can balance that against the phenomenal asset renewal program that we're delivering in the budget this year is, I think, really incredible. And to stay within the rate cap and to be able to deliver that is quite fantastic. So again, thank you to the officers for their tireless work in balancing all the numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just looking up that in Moyne, our increase from 2006 to 2016, obviously in 2016, then we've had, a 2.5% rate capping increase, but overall, so in that 10-year period, it's gone up a total 4.6%. So we're still, keeping things as tight as we can. As Councillor Murray said, it's a tricky space, and obviously our farmers in our region is hurting with the drought, and we're, advocating doing as best we can, I think, in that space. So, great work by the officers again with the advocacies, working out how to best do it where it's fair for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. And invite other councillors to speak for or against this motion. I'll return to you as the mover, Councillor Murray.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Let's put that to the vote. All those in favour, thank you. Carried 7-0. Item 2.5 is the revenue and rating plan. And again, Mr. Small, could you step us through this one, please?
Thank you very much, councillors. This revenue rating plan is a piece of legislation requires us to adopt a 4-year revenue rating plan for the life of the council. And the intention is to give the council itself some guidance on how it's going to be conducting its revenue and raising activities over the coming period of the council's term. So it sets out really how we how we charge the rates, what the basis of doing the valuations are, or whether we have a municipal charge, how we would approach special charges if we were to have any, and when we will have the instalment payments on, how people might how they might actually pay their rates, and whether the interest payable and how the overdue rates. So all the technical underpinnings of the rating process is contained in this, and it really provides the guidance for the council going forward. Should the council wish to change something significantly, would need to then come back and probably do a revised process, but that's unusual. So this document reflects what we've just adopted in the council budget, so it's the consistency there. And the last thing I want to say, we did call for submissions of this document as we're required to do under the Act, but we did not receive any. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was about to ask that. Thank you very much, Mr. Small. Okay, so questions around our revenue and rating plan. We've been none. We have got an officer's recommendation here before us that we adopt the rating plan as set out, and I'm seeking a mover. Thank you, Councillor Ross, and a seconder. Councillor Murray, thank you. Councillor Ross.
No, it's pretty much just procedural. Nothing more further.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor, nothing further.
Thank you. Any other councillor who'd like to speak for or against the motion that's before us? I'll return to you as the mover, Councillor Ross. I think let's put that one to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 7-0. Bringing things in a little bit now, 2.6, the monthly finance report. Mr. Small, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this is our monthly operational finance report, and the important part is always to see where we are today and how we think we're going to go against the year-end budget. I'm pleased to say there's no surprises in this report, so we are tracking much as we thought we would be at the last report a month ago. We're effectively against an underlying surplus that we'd budgeted to have of 748,000. We are coming in at a revised underlying surplus of 52,000. And while we had expected to have the operating surplus of 6.2 million, we actually we expect to end up with an operating surplus of about 9.1 million, which is the same as reported last month. So we'll see next month how accurately we were in this whole exercise, but hopefully we are reasonably accurate. So, Other than that, I just wish to mention that the capital works are largely on track. We're spending slightly more than we spent this time last year. So that gives us some comfort. We're going to have a good result with our capital works for the year. And nothing else I need to cover. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Small.
Thanks.
Questions in relation to our finance report? Councillor?
Thank you, Mayor. I think you wrote me not to ask about the Porphyry Skating Bay update. I believe things are tracking well, but we were delayed with a flying fox. Just see how that's going would be great. Thank you, Mayor.
Ms. Robinson, are you able to answer that one for us?
Thank you. Yes, so works are progressing well. This week we have scheduled the installation of the flying fox, James Street car park, Campbell to Union Street asphalting, skate and play asphalting, and works on the footpaths there, furniture installation and landscaping. So all in all, works are on track for completion, and we have the official opening scheduled for the 8th of August.
Be an exciting day.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Finance report? Yes, Councillor Douglas.
Yeah, the 8th of August.
That's correct.
What day is that?
Friday.
Friday,
3:30.
3:30.
School's out.
School's out. I was just going to say, school, if it was there earlier, give them half the day off.
Any principal?
Be there. I want to see 1,000 kids down there.
It'll be a great day. Okay, so we have got an officer's recommendation that we receive and note the monthly financial report as at 31st of May. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Seconded by Councillor Taylor. Thank you. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Great to see things are tracking well and our excellent staff are all across things, and we not only discuss it here, but we discuss it quite frequently at workshops and emails, and it's things are tracking good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Councillor Taylor.
Nothing further to add. Happy to second.
Thank you.
Are there councillors who'd like to speak for or against? Nobody? We turn to you, some mover.
Thank you, Mayor.
Let's put item 2.6 to the vote. Everybody in favour, please raise your hand. It's carried at 7-0. Item 2.7, local government performance reporting framework, half yearly report. Mr. Small.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this is a routine report we're required to have from the local government. Regulations require us to produce a local government performance report each 6 months. And this is the half yearly report. The full report is incorporated in the annual report, so that gets audited and validated, and it forms an important part of the annual report. This is simply a half yearly report to see where we're up to. It's difficult to always make direct comparisons of the half year result because you can't get the full picture for the year. So nonetheless, we're still required to produce it, and I apologise that it is a little late. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Small. Any questions from councillors? We look forward to seeing the year report. I do need a mover though. We've got a recommendation there that we accept the half yearly report. Councillor Ryan, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Ross. Councillor Ryan?
No comment, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross.
Yeah, the figures are pretty hard to read at this stage. Report back.
Okay, anyone else like to speak for or against? Councillor Ryan, I'm assuming you don't need a right of reply for anything there? Nothing further. Okay, let's put item 2.7 to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried 7-0. Item 2.8, we are moving on to a different topic now. The Commonwealth Home Support and Brokered Service, Home and Community Care Fees. And I'll ask our Acting Director of Assets and Community, Ms. Simone Robinson, to please introduce.
Councillors, this report presents the 25-26 proposed 25-26 client contribution fees for the Commonwealth Home Support Program, Home and Community Care Program for younger people, and brokered fees. The current fee structure for Commonwealth Home Support falls below sector norms, and it doesn't reflect the true cost to deliver the services. It's therefore recommended to increase these fees by 10%. That equates to about 85 cents for the vast majority of services, up to about $3 for respite. We are proposing to increase respite services a fraction more just due to the complexity of delivering those services to align with other services. Clients make a contribution towards the cost of services, and the amount that we are able to increase those fees are based on a framework set by the Commonwealth, and they need to reflect market price for market service and socio-economic factors.
Thank you very much, Ms Robertson. Okay, questions? Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor. Can I just clarify that for our residents that might be receiving some of these services, how greatly affected their bottom line will be, or how out of pocket they'll be impacted?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. The majority of clients will have minimal impact. Like I said, the lowest increase is around 85 cents. The highest for low fees is an increase to respite, which is about $3. Most of our clients do pay the low fee. There is a little bit more of an increase for clients that are on a medium fee there. We also have provisions within those services for people to apply for hardship should they need to with us for assistance with.
Any other questions? We do have a recommendation before us that we adopt proposed client contributions. Who would like to move that? Thank you, Councillor Murray, and seconded, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I'm happy to support this. That it financial. I know that any increase is not ideal, but this will bring us. My understanding is that it will bring us closer to being in line with other providers, and I think it is something that we need to do. And I'm glad that it's not a huge increase to the people that are receiving these services.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Rock.
I reserve my right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this motion? I'll come straight back to you now.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. The demand for aged care services is growing within our region, and we are a population of older people predominantly in Moyne. We play a vital role in helping older Australians living independently, safely and with dignity in their own homes through this program. However, the rising costs and increasing service complexities means that the current rates are no longer reflective in terms of the service that we are offering. As Councillor Murray said, nobody likes increases in what they're paying, but to maintain safe and sustainable person-centred care, this rate is needed across this service, and it's not unusual for us to increase these rates for this particular program. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray is the mover.
No further. Thank you.
Sure. Item 2.8, let's put that to the vote. All those in favour? That is carried 7-0. Item 2.9, the Victoria Park Master Plan update. And here we will invite Ms Robertson again to introduce this to us. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. This report follows a review and update of the 2017 to 2024 Vic Park Master Plan. The new plan has been updated to reflect new and emerging priorities and to guide community use and infrastructure investment from 2025 to 2035. There were gaps identified in the current plan by the Community Asset Committee user groups, and there's been an emergence of new projects and priorities.
Thank you very much for that, Ms Robinson. Any queries? So everyone's pretty across that. Okay, let's see if we can find a mover, please, for our recommendation that the renewed master plan for Vic Park and Croydon be adopted. Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Seconded by Councillor Ross. Thank you very much. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. It's wonderful to see a community asset continually aiming to meet the needs of the growing community of Croydon. And I'd like to thank all the community groups who participated in the consultation sessions for their input.
Thank you, Councillor Ross.
I'm happy to support it. Yeah, aim high and we'll certainly get some funding somewhere along the line. Move forward.
That'll be the challenge here. Thank you, Councillor Ross. Anyone else like to speak for or against? No? Councillor Ryan, is there anything further you'd like to sum up?
Thank you, Mayor.
Let's put item 2.9 to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried 7-0. Item 2.10, Community Assistance Fund Policy and Guidelines Review, which comes back to us periodically. Mr. Small, I'll ask for you to please introduce this to us.
Thank you, Mayor. I think you might ask Ms. Robertson, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I had the wrong one written down. Mr. Robinson, my apologies. This is your directorate.
Thank you. This report is presenting a revised and updated Community Assistance Fund policy and guidelines for council consideration. Enhancements to the policy and guidelines were prompted by feedback from the 24-25 funding round, and also the need to integrate the objectives from the newly adopted Moyne and Warrnambool Youth Strategy.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. This one always gets lots of interest. So do we have questions from any councillors? We have workshopped this one pretty well. Okay, we have a recommendation that we adopt the policy and the guidelines. Who would like to move that? Thank you, Councillor Murray. Seconded by Councillor Lockett. Councillor Murray.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I think the Community Assistance Fund is brilliant. I'm more than happy to support it. I just highlight an inclusion that I am really excited about, and that's the youth-led grants under $3,000. It's to support innovative youth-driven project designed by young people for young people. And I'm really excited that our youth strategy that was relatively recently adopted is starting to play out and be embedded within council policies such as this. And we're starting to see outcomes for the youth in our region. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm happy to speak on behalf to support it.
Thank you. Well said. Thanks, Councillor Murray. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Well said, Councillor Murray. And yeah, just agreeing, just to shout out to the staff in this department. I think they're, community strengthening sports and recreation and youth, they're doing a fantastic job. And Community Assistance Fund's one of my favourite programs. I think it's fantastic. We've got, diversity across the Shire, sports and events and things. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other councillors who'd like to speak for or against? Councillor Ross.
It's good to see that we've tinkered with this, and it's up to the youth now. Putting pressure on the youth to come up with some good ideas.
Absolutely. I think they've got some great ideas too. Thank you, Councillor Ross. I'll return to you, Councillor Murray, if you'd like to sum up in any way. No. Let's put item 2.10 to the vote. Councillors in favour, please. That is carried 7-0. Item 2.11. Petition, or perhaps a joint letter, unleash dogs in the main street of Karamat. I'll ask our Director of Environment, Economy and Place, Ms Jodie McNamara, please to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, we have received a petition from 33 individuals from the Karamat area. There is a request that the main street or main road of Karamat be signed, formally reminding the community of dogs on leash, that is the area. We have noted that, strictly speaking, the petition doesn't meet formal guidelines for a petition, but officers do recommend that council receive the petition and refer to the Chief Executive Officer for action. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms McNamara. Councillors, questions? Councillor Murray.
Through you, Mayor. I just wanted clarification that dogs are required within Moyne to be on leads. Is that correct?
Mayor, thank you for the question. Our local law and the Domestic Animals Act does require dogs to be on lead in all public areas, apart from those parks and different areas that are declared to be off lead. So yes, it is a requirement.
Right. So for clarification, it's this isn't, we're not rewriting law or anything. They're supposed to be on leads. We're just going to put up signage to remind the community.
Mayor, yes, that is correct.
Okay. Any other questions? So the recommendation here is that we receive the petition and refer it to our CEO, Ms Wetterstein, for appropriate management and response. Seeking a mover. Yeah. Councillor Ryan, Councillor Ryan got in first, and Councillor Taylor seconded. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. As Ms McNamara and Councillor Murray have said, this doesn't change any requirements under Moyne's local law. And I do applaud the Karamat community for speaking up for an issue that they recognise within their community. And I'd just like to remind our community that the importance of responsible dog ownership. This means dogs on leads in public areas, picking up after them, ensuring they're registered and microchipped, and being mindful of their behaviour around others. So responsible pet ownership helps our public spaces be safe, clean and enjoyable for everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Tate.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm happy to second this motion. I just noting that it was determined that although it was determined the petition doesn't comply with the formal requirements, it is within the remit of local laws to erect signage, and also councillors and officers have had in-person consultation with the community, which has verified the validity of the intent of the petition. So happy to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I'll open it up for other councillors who'd like to speak for or against the motion. Councillor Murray.
Mayor, similar to what Councillor Taylor just said, in a publicly available report, you can see that the petition didn't actually meet the guidelines of a petition. So I would just, however, there is validity, which is why we're discussing it now. But I just would like to reiterate to our community, if you would like to present us with a petition, just make sure you have a look at the petition guidelines and make sure that something like a little technicality might not render it invalid. So, but yes, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Murray. Any other councillors who'd like to speak before I return to the mover? Councillor Ryan?
No.
Okay, let's put item 2.11 to the vote. All those in favour? That is carried 7-0. Item 2.12 is formulate a VCAT position in relation to a proposed rural store here in Mortlake. And I'll ask Ms McNamara to step us through this issue, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, we do have an application for planning permit on the Hopkins Highway just outside of Mortlake for a rural store. The process so far has given rise to several matters that officers require to be assessed in forming a determination on the application. Since that time, the applicant has lodged an application at VCAT to determine the matter, which makes VCAT the decision maker in this instance. When we are going into VCAT in this type of appeal, it is appropriate that council do form a position so that we can advocate on behalf of council at VCAT. At this point in time, council officers are recommending that council form a position of no support, subject to some outstanding matters that remain. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms McNamara. Does anybody have any questions about this one? Yes, Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try and word my question correctly. It seems a shame the insufficient detail on kind of aspects of is that part of the reason this is going to VCAT? With detail, it's
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Lockett. It is available through the Planning Environment Act for an applicant to bring a matter like this to VCAT to determine. There is one objection on the file as well, and officers do consider that some of the issues aren't resolved yet.
Okay, so if there are no further questions, the recommendation there is before us. Largely refers to insufficient detail. So I am looking for a mover. Thank you, Councillor Murray, and a seconder. Councillor Lockett, thank you. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Planning matters aren't straightforward, especially not big ones like this. However, the decision not to support it seems very straightforward to me. You can't assess an application that you don't have all the information for. I just would like to make clear that I'm not supportive because of the insufficient detail, not specifically because of the merits of the application. It's just that we cannot assess what we don't have. So for that reason, I'm in support of this one.
It's Councillor Murray here. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I agree exactly with Councillor Murray's points because it's, I see this area being ideally a really good thing for Mortlake. It's a real shame that we haven't got, enough details, and hopefully things can be fleshed out because, we see Mortlake as the epicenter for the region of rural everything, rural epicness, if you like. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Anyone else like to speak to this motion? No, I'll return to you, councillor Murray. Anything further? No. Item 2.12, all those in, 2.12, all those in favour, please. That is carried 7-0. Moving to item 2.13, Mount Shadwell, staying with the Centre of Agricultural Epicness, Mount Shadwell Advisory Committee membership appointment. And Ms McNamara, would you please introduce this for us?
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the Mount Shadwell Advisory Committee has received an additional nomination for a membership. Unfortunately, when we circulated for nominations earlier in the year, this particular potential member did miss out on the email due to some technical error. The committee have discussed the matter and would like to recommend some updates to the terms of reference of the committee, which includes allowing increasing membership. We also recommend that the nominated member also be appointed.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Questions? Looking for a mover. We're just looking at our two members of our advisory committee. Thank you, councillor Ross. Are you there to move that recommendation? And a seconder, please. Councillor Ryan. Thank you. Councillor Ross.
No, it's pretty much straightforward. Looking forward to.
Thank you very much, councillor Ryan.
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other councillor wanting to speak? All right, councillor Ross, you're right. You don't need a right of reply. Let's vote on that one. Item 2.13. All those in favour? That is carried 7-0. We'll move to item 3.1, the mayor and councillor activities, which are all set out there before you to have a look at. Any questions or commentary around those? No. We'll move to item 3.2, councillor notice of motion, which we did not receive any within the allotted timeframes. So we move to general matters, item 3.3. Councillor Murray.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I just want to point out that recently, a few weeks ago, I participated in the Walk for Truth, and I'd like to commend Europe Deputy Commissioner Travis Lovett on this incredible journey. The walk elevated thousands of individual testimonies and stories into a collective narrative that can no longer be ignored. It was a solemn and powerful experience and a recognition of the need to tell the truth, the real truth about the history of this country, the truth of colonisation, dispossession, forced removals, and the ongoing trauma that continues today. These are not abstract ideas. They are lived realities for many in our community. What is most disappointing and frankly ironic is that in the same month that many of us walked in solidarity for truth-telling and healing, a fellow councillor in this chamber has demonstrated a profound lack of understanding, or perhaps a refusal to understand, the brutality of colonisation and the lasting impact it has had and continues to have on First Nations people. I look forward to the recommendations of the Europe Justice Commission in the weeks ahead, and I call on all councillors to reflect on the weight of our words. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Murray. Any other items for general matters, please? Yes, councillor Robb.
Through you, Mayor. A few items from me today. So firstly, our Love Local Awards were held on Friday last week, and I just want to say congratulations to all of our nominated businesses and award winners. Our Shire doesn't thrive without diverse businesses, and it's wonderful to recognise their contributions. A big congratulations also to council officers for their hard work in managing the nominations and the event. My second one is Southcombe Park. The Committee of Management has recently completed their solar and battery project, so a huge congratulations to them and their hard work in bringing this project together. Thirdly, June is Pride Month, and I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge this, and it's a time to celebrate our LGBTIQA+ community, to recognise their ongoing contributions and to reaffirm inclusion, equity and respect for all. Further to this, I'd also like to raise under general business regarding Council's leadership in relation to diversity, equity and inclusion. Diversity, equity and inclusion should never be political. It's humane, evidence-based and essential for community health. Diversity, equity and inclusion are not just values, they are fundamental to creating communities that can adapt, thrive and grow together. As a council, we're not just about roads, rates and rubbish. We're here to ensure that every person, regardless of their background, identity, ability or life experience, feels safe, heard, respected and able to thrive. We know that First Nations people have the right to self-determination and decision-making on matters that affect them. Supporting treaty and truth-telling is essential to reconciliation and healing, and local government has a powerful role to play in walking alongside traditional owners and embedding cultural safety without racism. People with disability face systemic barriers to access, participation and opportunity. Councils must be proactive in creating environments, services and employment practices that are universally accessible and inclusive by design, not just compliance-based. Our LGBTIQA+ communities still experience disproportionate rates of mental ill health, discrimination and social exclusion. Celebrating diversity and ensuring representation is vital to changing those outcomes. Culturally and linguistically diverse communities bring rich knowledge, experience and economic value, but often encounter language, racism and access barriers that must be actively addressed. Council are often the closest level of government to the community. This means that we have a duty to be visible allies, to challenge discrimination where it shows up, and to ensure our policies, services and public spaces are inclusive by design. Being a leader in diversity, equity and inclusion means listening with humility, acting with courage, and designing systems, services and projects that reflect and serve the full complexities of our community. It's not a charity, it's just good governance.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Any other items for general matters? Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a few as well. Just a bit of an admin thing, the Gipp Street Bridge, there's Telstra are doing some NBN relocation works. It's quite an interesting setup there. You people asking, oh, is the bridge happening? I'm like, well, it's some preliminary work. So yeah, just to let people know, there's not too much disruptions there, which is good. The winter weekends, a shout out, congratulations to them. I think they ran a successful program over a couple of weekends. Yeah, so just a shout out to that committee. I think they do a fantastic job. NAIDOC week is coming up in July, so I think there's lots of various events across our Shire. The Living Framlingham, there's an event in Woodable, and I think there's some hopefully in Moyne as well. And yeah, I also wanted to speak about the Walk for Truth was something I attended and something that was profoundly moving to attend, and just want to also flag that the content, you know, it's about truth telling, but I think it's important that we speak the truth in the chamber. My favourite Greek word is parrhesia, which means speaking truth to power, and that's, I think, exactly what the Walk for Truth is about. And when we talk about stolen land and stolen wealth, which is what happened in this country, there was massacres, obviously, and there was, you know, horrendous atrocities that occurred to Indigenous people. And how in the face of that can we then talk about, say, treaty which doesn't affect private land? That's your high court legislation in this country, but it doesn't impact private land. So people in this country have made wealth from stolen land, and maybe that's why that triggers so many people about freaking out about this. But that's, I think, the truth that needs to be spoken in this room and in this chamber, because if you think Indigenous people have had a good run, I think they've had a pretty hard done by. And I think that's what speaking the truth is about. Some of the atrocities, there's lots that I knew about, but just on the little walk that I did from Port Fairy to Killarney, and then hearing what the colonisers did in front of women, in front of mothers, was horrendous. And we need to know these truths. That's why it's difficult to hear them. So, you know, I'm blown away by what I've heard in this room today, and I'll continue to call it out and speak it out because, as Councillor Taylor said, yes, the referendum didn't go the way that some want, but how do we as a country move forward in the face of that? I still think as a nation needs to be addressed. And we will continue to do it at a local level as well. Thank you.
Any other items for general matters?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Councillor Locker referred to stolen land. Could you identify what land was stolen?
Could
Because I find it objectionable that he might be accusing me of living on my land being stolen.
I don't know that.
There's plenty of articles if you want, Councillor.
And tell me what stolen land are you talking about?
Could I invite councillors just to return to the purpose that we.
Yeah, but that I find that offensive.
I understand, and we.
Very offensive.
Councillor Dukas, could I suggest we continue that conversation outside
It doesn't give me the answer.
the chamber?
All you're doing is deflecting the issue. The statement was made, the word stolen land was used 3 or 4 times.
Yes, it was.
And I asked the question, what land is you referring to? Because
Initially by councillor Taylor, can I add?
Can we please, councillors, please.
I don't think she mentions
Councillor
that.
Dukas, I'm going to call a couple of minutes break right now, just before we proceed with the rest of the agenda. So if we could just have a 5-minute break and then we'll return to the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for your patience. For those of you who are watching along online, we'll resume our meeting now, and we'll still be at item 3.3 general matters. So it's opportunity for councillors to raise any items of general interest to our community. Councillor Dukas.
The biggest item of all time is the 13th of July, the Shire's winding at the Union Station Hotel. Farmers Friendly Fun Day. No politics. Really good entertainment for children and adults. And as I speak, Mr. Small is working on a bank account set up where people can donate directly into a special account, whatever they like to donate. But we'll be talking to businesses, etc., to get some more donations. But it will be that what's booked already is very, very good. No details, I don't want to spoil it, but please, families show up. Mum, dad, kids, grandkids. You don't have to be a farmer. Anybody that's got a business that's relative to agriculture, they're the people we want there.
Or a friend of a farmer?
And friend of a farmer. That was next, because farmers need their friends just as friends need farmers. We're in this together. You know, we've been alienated from the rest of Victoria, from the big cities, by the government. Don't hesitate in saying that. They haven't done much for us at all. So we will band together and we'll fight Toad Hall. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dukas. Any other items for general matters? I just have one. CEO Mark Everstein and I and a number of officers attended the Hawkesdale Big Freeze yesterday. And while we weren't brave enough to actually get in the water, we were very enthusiastic supporters of those who did. And there were, I don't know, a couple of 200-300 people there at the Hawkesdale swimming pool. And funds raised will help to combat neural disease. So congratulations to the community in Hawkesdale for putting on such a terrific event today.
Can I ask?
Yes, you can.
Did a certain publican from Kirkstall take the plunge?
Apparently a certain publican did, although he was incognito, dressed as a clown at the time. So
I don't think that incognito worked, but looks like we'll have cold beer and a cold publican for a while.
maybe you will, but it was certainly a great fun event.
And said publican raised $1,000, I hear, single-handedly. So solid effort, Tony.
Well done.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you, councillors. No other items?
thank you for
No other
much.
general matters? Items to raise? We'll move to 3.4, urgent business. Is there any? Thank you. We move to item 4, the CEO meeting schedule and activities report. Over to you, please, Mr. Eckstein.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, councillors, for the opportunity to provide an update this month. So I'd like to start with the drought, the worst for our region in 60 years, and record low rainfall for the 2 years and counting. So much of our activity over the last month has been supporting the community. Just to outline a couple of those elements, we've been regular engagement with state government ministers and local members to support local farming communities, and also to talk about the desire for an alternative way with the emergency services and volunteer funds levy. Of course, last month we had the plea for a natural disaster to be declared relating to the drought. So since then, we've seen things like the drought task force emerge. So we're keenly watching the outcomes from that task force and other things being done now. We're also working in partnership at the moment with DECA to expand roadside grazing permits. So we do expect those to start to get into farmers' hands this week. I'd like to thank DECA for their support with us over the last couple of weeks in particular to make that happen. And also regular media and other forms of engagement to really spread the awareness of the impacts of the drought on farming and the wider community. And lastly, we've been working with representative bodies that Moyne is members of, including the MAV, Municipal Association of Victoria, RCV, which is Regional Councils Victoria, and SWVA, which is South West Vic Alliance. All of those bodies in different ways have been also advocating for all important elements relating to the drought. So we thank them for that work. Onto roads. So an update firstly on our resealed roads program that is completed now for the 2024-25 year. And a real shout out to the team who have achieved a further 22 kilometres or 20% of sealed works, which has been assisted by some investments in recent years, such as the spreader trucks. So we're really seeing a dividend beyond expectations there, if you like, with the impact on our resealed roads program. Our unsealed road program at the end of May was at 85%, and that's on track to be completed this week, which will close the year in full as planned. With our early years, so we've got approximately 50 additional enrolments compared to this time last year. If you include routes at Garbock, which are operating now in a council facility, compared to May 2024. So that's an increase of about 15% in enrolments year on year, which was an important target for us. Additionally, in May, we had just one unplanned closure day in May. So coming into winter, just like to congratulate the team on that. Of course, that is fewer unplanned impacts on the families that come to our facilities. So we do head now into the winter months, which bring a few challenges with that season, but that was a great effort there. So thank you to the team for that. With our key projects, so East Beach and Port Fairy is now completed. The Port Fairy Football Netball Club change rooms are on track for July completion and an official opening in early August, so watch out for that one. Hopkins Fall Bridge is now completed the major works. We're just seeing some tidy up and some road sealing around the bridge occur. That's on track to occur over the next couple of weeks. We've got our PMO working on now stage 3 of the Croy Township renewal. And of course, skate and play was mentioned earlier on. So looking forward to that official opening coming up very, very soon, 8th of August, in fact. Council plan. So I'd just like to acknowledge really the community that have helped us put this plan together. As Mr. Small mentioned, almost 650 community members have helped us to do that through surveys, listening posts, dedicated workshops, online responses. So an enormous thank you to the community that helped us with their feedback and thoughts. We hope we've been able to capture those as much as possible and meet their expectations, as well as, of course, councillors and the wider community. Moving forward, as officers present reports to this OCM, you'll now start to see this new council plan adopted today appear in those officer reports moving forward. So we look forward to seeing that. With the budget passed through today as well, I'd just like to again thank the community for their feedback and those submissions, as was mentioned before. Thank you also to councillors and officers for supporting this activity, both with the plan and the budget over the last few months. Vic Reid are inviting submissions. So I'd just like to remind the community that the Victorian Transmission Plan submissions are due tomorrow, the 24th of June, and Moyne Shire Council will be providing a submission on behalf of council and the community. And lastly, not to forget Volunteers Week was in late May. So finally from me, an enormous thank you to all the volunteers across Moyne Shire. I've really enjoyed meeting many of them over my almost first 12 months in the job. Wonderful group of people. I always get lots of energy and a great experience spending time with so many volunteers and the great work they do. And we certainly see our role here at council as doing as much as we can to support them in their work. So that's it for me. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. Well said. Are there questions for Mr. Everstein around his report? Been very busy.
One, Madam
Councillor
Mayor, thank you.
Jenkins.
On page 451, panel contracts due to expire, contract number MS 950 consultancy services. Doesn't give any detail. What are so-called consultancy services? Seems an open-ended statement.
Through you, Mayor, I don't have that in front of me. I don't know if Ms. Robinson might have that handy or Mr. Smith, but
Don't be right.
if not, I can take it on notice and come back to
Workshop
you.
will do.
Yeah, I will come back to you with more specifics around that.
Thank you for another very busy council month, Mr. Everstein, and I certainly am hearing, having lots of feedback in my role, about your willingness to get out into the community and attend events and community meetings. So thank you.
Pleasure, thank you.
Now I'm going to call for a motion that we suspend standing orders so we can consider the confidential agenda, which does have one item on it in relation to environmental services. Sydney Ribbon, Councillor Lockett, seconded Councillor Murray. Just put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 7-0. And thank you for those who've been watching online today.